you touch me in the pouring rain. In the moment that you wander far from me, I wanna feel you in my arms again. And you come to me on a summer breeze, keep me warm in your love, and then softly leave. That you wander far from me, I wanna feel you in my arms again. And you come to me on a summer breeze, keep me warm in your love, and then softly leave. And it's me you need to show. How deep is your love? How deep is your
Good morning and welcome to the Shortfall Show. I hope you're all having a good morning this Wednesday as we move forward in the markets and move forward in our destiny as traders to create prosperity for our families and our loved ones through the act of trading in the financial marketplaces. We did see a little pop yesterday, and the VIX with the down move in the markets. There's still a lot of talk about tariffs, and those sort of dominate the headlines as we roll towards both VIX expiration next week and, of course, midterm elections in the United States. Let's take a quick look at the markets this morning and see what's up. And my little sample account here. Let's see what we got going. All right, so E-mini's down 18 right now. The Dow futures down 200 and NASDAQ down 55. So definitely looking at a down day, although we were down a little bit more overnight, I think. Let's actually, maybe not. Maybe we're down. Let's see. So there's a look at just the E-mini chart over the last 3 months about, and you can see we're kind of all over the board, but we're not near the lows right now. We're in fact near the highs. So this is just kind of a blip on the radar. It looks like if you just look at, if you back things up to this kind of level of a chart, gives you an idea of the story last couple months in the E-minis. Now let's take a look quick at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ looks a little different, huh? I'm sorry, that's not the NASDAQ. What am I looking at? That's natural gas. Sorry. NASDAQ looks the same. And Dow futures not quite as strong, but still doesn't look too bad. A lot of VIX longs are like acting vindicated today with a little pop. UVXY currently trading 1056 bid at 1057. But traders expect a pop like this a lot. If we go to Twitter yesterday, and my Twitter account got hacked, which wasn't fun. I don't think there was any real damage, but it was like hacked from some phone in Ohio, and then there were like a few like weird messages were sent to people that I didn't know who they were. And so that was a little frightening. But anyway, let's look at Twitter here for a second, because you know, we have got the down move over the last couple of days in the VIX, and people were starting to think a little bit yesterday that maybe it was time to cover the short for a second, something like that. One of my favorite accounts to follow is, of course, Matt Thompson, Dynamic Vol. And let's see if I can locate the post from yesterday where he was talking about. Here we go. If you're short the VIX, now it gets harder. This is the one I was looking at yesterday. And different people saying the same thing. At these VIX levels, not much room to fall further, and VX decay slows down, okay? And then Gungeon coming in, that's assuming we don't see VIX 2017 levels again. In case you don't remember, 2017 was an outlier. So, you know, if you aren't on Twitter, Twitter's a good place to be, because not everybody's like me and just goes across like multiple platforms. I mean, I'm on Facebook, I'm on, I like to check out Seeking Alpha, et cetera, but there are a bunch of traders that are just on Twitter. And so if you're not there, you're going to, or just on Twitter and like one other thing or something. So if you're not there, you're going to miss out on some stuff. So I would definitely recommend checking out the VIX scene on Twitter, because it definitely is a very strong spot for VIX info. And Dynamic Vol is a good one. Stevie VIX, I don't know. There's a whole list, and people actually produce lists of VIX accounts on Twitter to check out. They usually come out every Friday. You could look through the people I'm following on Twitter, although I'm following a lot of people, so it's kind of it's not that helpful looking at mine. But this is definitely a spot that's important to check out, to see what the pros are doing. Of course, the VIX Facebook group is good for that as well. But anyway, so I did switch gears yesterday a little bit and put on this a Tesla spread. I put on a Tesla calendar spread. So let's take a look at that real quick. So it's essentially a 10 August. It's a 21 September, 10 August, 225 call calendar spread. And when I look at it, I was just looking straight at theta decay, which is kind of a simplistic way of looking at things, but I was getting more bang for my buck on theta decay with this one than with UVXY. And with UVXY kind of like having made a move down, I decided I would give this one a shot. So I'm collecting $53 a day for outlying about $3,000 in capital. And I just decided I'd put it on, see how it works for a little while. You can see when I look at my risk parameters here that I have this price slices here, which shows for a what my P&L is for a down move and an up move. And you can see that my risk here is sort of to the downside, where it shows me losing $700 for a 10% down move. So my thought was, and still is, that maybe I will take like 1 days of theta, $50 from 1 day's theta decay, and buy some downside protection. And I was thinking my first thought was to hold off a couple days before I did that, just to let it work for a little bit, but then maybe go to a couple weeks out and buy some downside. I was looking at maybe like the something like a 260, 240 put vertical. So a $20 put vertical, which would mean that like if this thing did like crash out, that I wouldn't lose as much money, or I would pair losses by a lot. So let's see. So if I were to buy the 27 July 260 put and sell the 245 put against it, so pay $61. So just about 1 day's decay. And if we model that in our little analysis tab here, so for a 25% down move, if I pay $50, I would cut my loss for a 25% down move in half, from $2,400 to $1,200 for $60. Okay, if I bought 3 of them, then I would turn my a 25% down move from a loss into a gain. So, you know, it's something you want to look. It's like when I'm trading something, I'm not looking at like where I can make the money. I'm looking at where I can lose it. And where I can lose it here is if Tesla crashes in the next month. Earnings are August 1st. So I can leave this spread on for a couple weeks and look to collect that $50 a day, and then make the decision of whether I'm going to roll through earnings with it or not. But at this point, my general plan is to take it off before earnings. But I will look to maybe do a little downside protection in the next couple of days, just because you know, leaving that risk out there is just looking for trouble. However, you know, you can see that this position is a bullish position in the stock. Let's take a look at the chart real quick. And I'm not a big chart person. Tesla's a monster. It goes all over the place. But what I see, just looking at the chart there, and let me see if I'm lined up correctly so you can see it right. I'm slightly in the way, but that's okay. What I see from the chart here is kind of in the middle of the range in the last little while, which is fine. So the effects of moving a little bit each day should be offset by the theta. So it shows me long 13 deltas here. So, you know, down a couple. This thing moves all over the place. It's currently indicated down about $6-7. It was up, I think at the end of the day, up like $3 yesterday. So it moves around a little bit, but I just decided I would give this give it a try and see what happens. See if it's a decent thing to check out moving forward. I did want to pick a stock with a higher price so that there was a little bit more theta decay in it per day. What I was looking for was basically, as I said, bang for the buck. If I've got a limited amount of money, how can I collect a decent amount each day for that amount of money? All right, so let's go over now and check out the VIX term structure. Exciting stuff coming up in the next 2 days on this channel. Friday, I have a returning guest, exciting returning guest from Seeking Alpha to update us. Last time we talked to him, he was countries far away. I think he was in like Bali or something like that, or Vietnam. And having returned to the United States, we'll catch up with him and see how he's doing. Then later on Friday, I am going to be interviewed for someone else's program. I'll give you more programming details on that as we get closer to the time. But always exciting to go on someone else's show because it puts new eyeballs on me and allows me to sort of spread my message to a bigger group of people. So that's always exciting. It's funny when I have people that are more well-known than me on my show, it doesn't usually bump things, but when I go on other people's show, it sort of bumps things and gives me a little bit more exposure, which is always fun. So contango situation right now with the up move, we did see contango come in a little bit. However, still healthily over 5%. And as I said before, this stuff is decaying. And if this situation from today plays out like things have been recently, we could end up the day up on the day, or at a minimum, we're staying in contango and this stuff is decaying here. Let's take a look quickly at the VIX here itself. And for the period we had for everything else here, we're seeing, it continued. We saw this big down move over the last few days, and then just a little bit of a sort of a retracement here. I don't expect this to sort of reverse, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, we're still in a downtrend here, although today was a pop. If we look at UVXY, similar story. We've seen the down move, and even though we got a pop today, it's not clear whether this is going to turn things around, and actually it's going to take a lot to get this thing out of contango and off the floor here. So yeah, once we hit sort of where the recent lows were, it is harder to get more move to the downside, but stuff is decaying here. So as I said before, this doesn't change anything about us looking to take out the all-time lows sometime soon. I posted a couple days ago 182 days. Now we're at I think 185 days since the all-time low. That's a long time. That's over half a year, and that's quite a long time since the all-time lows. So anyways, do check out phenomgroup.com, my buddy Seth's website, as a great resource for all things VIX and retail stock. You had a great summary article yesterday reviewing 2018 VIX and complex trading fundamentals. This article it basically covers everything you need to know about the term structure, the VIX, and the short vol trade, and gives a history of what's happened in recent times, including stuff like yield curve versus VIX info. And it's just a real good summary to check out. So check that out at phenomgroup.com. This is, I think, the only website that I actually have a membership at, because I think it's good to kind of get rid of, sometimes it's fun to spar with people on StockTwits, but other times you just want information and you don't want to deal with the riffraff and people saying, oh, UVXY is going to 200 tomorrow, or conversely, UVXY is going to 2. And, it's no matter how much you try to teach and educate people, still people are going to come on and say, I looked at UVXY and it's got support at the 1024 area or something like that. So there's always more people to teach about stuff. And if you want to teach people, then by all means go on StockTwits, and there's always new people to teach. But if you want to kind of try to build a more elevated conversation, then check out places like Seth's Phenom Group website. As we're moving forward, I do have no position in UVXY right now because I did take it off yesterday. But I might look to start to build another one as we do get a little pop today. Might be a good time to start something new. I think that probably the 10 strike or the 11 strike is a good spot to center around. I think that it's going to take a lot for us to get back to 13, 14 again. And with contango building as it has been. Even with the update, we're above 5%. That is still a is kind of like an elevation of this decay situation. And with the whipsaw day up, if we end up today, then we've got beta slippage decay coming in as well. So not for people that trade this, for VIX shorts who trade this, not surprising we get a pop. Let's take a look at world news for a second. And I'm going to go to Drudge Report, which is a conservative news page. Merkel hits back. Gloves off at NATO summit. Merkel hits back. Now, Angela Merkel facing pressure, political pressure inside her party, of course. England World Cup excitement hits fever pitch. In England, the nation has reached a state of feverish excitement as England prepares for its first World Cup semifinal since the penalty shootout heartbreak of Italia 90. England erupted in collective euphoria on Saturday as almost 20 million gathered around TV sets to witness their comfortable 2-0 victory over Sweden, with a tough test against Croatia now awaiting Gareth Southgate's side on Wednesday evening. His team's World Cup heroics have rejuvenated support for the Three Lions and lifted the mood of the nation after 52 years of hurt and failure, with footage shared on social media capturing the jubilant scenes in beer gardens and fan parks across the country. So excited about that because of my English nationality. Hillary to speak at a conference with Bernie. I think that Hillary Clinton should retire from political life. Rising gas prices raise concerns for the economy. So not a whole lot in the news right now. So but a good trading day to start with. A little pop here, and you know, if things play out, the odds-on favorite right now for me is that we rally to unched at some point today, just from the way things are setting up right now. But we'll have to wait and see. Very hard to predict what's going to happen in any single day of the market. There's just too many forces at play here. If you checked out my video yesterday, I was focusing on a couple equity issues, Acorn and IQIYI. And I'm going to continue coverage of those. So let's take a look at Acorn here. Now this in a takeover deal that sort of kind of fell apart for a little bit, but might be back on. So the symbol being AKRX. And why is this interesting? Well, the chart's very interesting. You see this huge down move as the deal fall apart, and then the rally since then with a little bit of a sell-off yesterday. But why is this interesting? It's interesting because the volatility in these options is off the charts. And so when volatility is off the charts, there is money to be made here for the brave soul who is willing to sell calls in this issue. You know, sell out of the money calls and maybe over hedge them with stock, I would say, would be a good play on this one. So by that, what I mean is if the see how we're rallying here? Well, if the rally continues, then and you sell calls, like let's say you sell like the 26s or the 24s, and you sell calls, you buy stock against them. If it rallies up to the price of the calls, then you're going to make money on your long stock, and the calls are going to go nowhere, and it could be a huge win for you. So another way to play this would just be to sell the calls and hedge them delta neutral. That way, you're just taking advantage of the high vol. And, you know, with a stock like this, you're going to get a move. They're going to either say, the suitor's either going to say, yes, we're going to get back in the deal at a lower price, and this thing's going to rip to the upside. Or nothing's going to happen for a while, and anything you sell is just going to decay, and you're going to make money on it. Or the deal is going to completely collapse, and this is going to, you know, gap back down to 12 or something. But either way, there is money to be made here because, as I said, option prices are rich. So, and this thing is not hard to borrow. So you can sell stock if you actually happen to buy calls or need to get, you know, cover some sort of delta. So implied volatility is in the 200s in the front months here. The stuff is rich. You know, 30 calls, 25 calls, $1.80. You could probably sell them for $2. SEP, similar stuff. The 44 calls you could sell for maybe $1.50. I'm sorry, the 27 and a half. Yeah, 27 and a half calls you could sell for $1.50 with 72 days to go. So stuff pretty rich here. So I'm gonna keep watching that one. Did have a little bit of a down move yesterday, and the other one, IQ, the so-called Netflix of China, and also kind of high vol issue here. $30 stock with the implied vols in the 80s. Had a huge run up and now kind of in the middle of a range. Might not be a bad spot to just sell some premium, and maybe it just hangs out in a range here for a little while and you collect some really decent decay. So I'm going to keep following these, and maybe we'll put something on in these and see and start to trade it and see how they work out. If you have any other, the other one I was looking at is Canopy Growth recently. If you have any specific equities that you're looking at some sort of play on, maybe leave a comment down below and I can look at them and we could maybe talk about them together. But definitely Friday, I am hoping to go live for this interview. It will be a little bit later in the day. It hasn't been determined exactly when the interview is going to be, but so check out my channel on Friday. I probably will broadcast in the morning to just update timing for the various activities going on Friday, but exciting Friday for us. And I am continuing to work on a big project to be announced soon. So that's exciting. Anyway, so market's open. I'm going to let you go and get to it and trade them up today. Should be a good one. And we'll see if my prediction is true and we do rally to unchanged today or to positive. We'll have to just wait and see. Thanks for watching, folks. I really appreciate you choosing to spend a few seconds with me in the morning. There's a lot of places you could be, and I appreciate you stopping by here.
I wanna feel you in my arms again, and you come to me on a summer breeze. Keep me warm in your love, and then softly leave. And it's me you need to show. How deep is your love? How deep is your love? And I really need to learn, 'cause we're living in a world of fools, breaking us down.
Good luck, everyone. I believe in you. You know the door to my very soul.
savior when I fall. And you may not think I can.
Just before we start this video,
when you know down inside that I really do, then it's me you need to show. How deep is your love? How deep is your love? And I really need to learn, 'cause we're living in a world of fools, breaking us down when they all should let us be. We belong to you and me. And you come to me on a summer breeze, keep me warm in your love, and then softly leave. And it's me you need to show. How deep is your